Hi, I'm Olivia King, Manager of Research Capability Building with Western Alliance Academic Health Science Centre. I acknowledge the custodians of the lands on which I am joining you from today, the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation, and I pay my respects to their elders past and present and to all First Nations people viewing this clip. I hope that after viewing this clip, you will have all the information you need to determine your readiness and suitability for the STaRR Emerging Researcher Mentored Training Program, understand what the training involves and what you can expect to get out of it, and develop your expression of interest for the STaRR program. So I'll begin by addressing the question, what is the STaRR Emerging Researcher Training Program? It's a mentored training program. It aims to support new and emerging researchers turn a health practice-based idea or problem into a research protocol or proposal. The training comprises 3 workshops held over approximately 10 weeks in a mix of in-person and online format that aim to provide you with the foundational knowledge and skills to get started on a research protocol or proposal. Work is required in the lead up to, in between, and beyond the workshops. We suggest that approximately 2 to 4 hours per week for the 10-ish weeks between the first and third workshops are needed. I suggest that you check our website for the proposed workshop dates in case you need to confirm your availability. The training is designed to facilitate experiential and collaborative learning and requires participants to come into it with a translation-focused idea. That is, an idea for a project that will lead to changes in practice or policy, or will lead to benefits to patients, communities, your healthcare team, or your organisation. So, is STaRR for you? Answering these questions will help you to decide. Are you new to research and keen to develop foundational research skills? Do you have a translation-focused idea? That is, a research idea that will translate into practice to solve a real-world health practice or policy problem? Are you willing and able to commit to 3 workshops, plus the work in between to develop your protocol or proposal? Do you have the support of your manager or leader to dedicate time to attending the training and working on developing your idea into a research protocol or proposal? If you think the answers to these questions are all yes, then STaRR is almost definitely for you. That said, if you're unsure about any of the above, we strongly encourage you to check in with your research translation coordinator if they are available. You'll find more information about the research translation coordinators at your health organisation on the EOI form. If, however, you're from an allied health background and you belong to a health organisation that has an allied health research and translation lead, you can certainly check in with them. If you don't have either a research translation coordinator or an allied health research lead in your organisation, or if you would like to contact our STaRR support team, we are really happy to hear from you and can help to direct you accordingly. So what can you expect from the STaRR Emerging Researcher training? I mentioned already that there are 3 workshops. The first of these will be held in person, followed by 2 online workshops. The in-person and one of the online workshops is a full day, and the third workshop is half or just over half day. We will also host breakout or small group activities, as well as small and larger group discussions, which will allow for your network development, peer learning, and for that practical hands-on learning. You can also expect to develop your research protocol through the training and to have some moments where we will encourage engagement and consultation with your manager or leader. Now, I've already mentioned that there is work that is needed to occur in between the workshops with your research team. And this will be in support and under the guidance of your mentor. And I'll talk about mentors a little bit later. So, if you are keen to participate in the STaRR Emerging Researcher training, you need to complete your expression of interest form. This requires you to identify your idea, work through the expression of interest form with your manager, or at least in consultation with them, nominate your research team members, and submit your expression of interest form via email to the STaRR support email listed on the slide here by the cutoff date. And I encourage you to check our website or the current EOI form for the details of that cutoff date. I will now talk through what we are looking for in response to each of the 4 questions on the EOI form. You need to limit each response to 200 words, which can be tricky, so it's really important that you are concise. You first need to describe the problem you would like to address through your STaRR project. To do this, you are required to briefly summarise existing literature. We know this can be tricky for new researchers, so we encourage you to seek help from your health service librarian if you have one available to you. If not, please get in touch with your research translation coordinator or our STaRR team, and we can help you to get in touch with a librarian or some suitable resources. We don't expect an extensive literature review. We just want to be sure that you have at least consulted the literature and know vaguely what is happening in the research space as it relates to your problem. We also expect in this first section that you highlight the knowledge or evidence that is still needed for you to inform local practice or policy. That is, you need to highlight what is known and what the gaps are. Next, we are looking for some evidence or data from your local setting that gives a sense of the scale or scope of the problem locally. This local setting evidence can be really useful in convincing your manager or organisation that there is a problem that needs to be addressed. Some examples of data or evidence from the local setting include data related to length of stay, the frequency of documented incidents or risks, consumer feedback or evidence of unmet need, staff absences or vacancies. They're just some examples, but we do recognise that sometimes you might know there is a problem, but it is hard to quantify. We do suggest that the more hard evidence you can gather and provide to demonstrate the presence and scope of the problem, the better. This will not only add weight to your STaRR EOI, but will also provide a baseline to measure any improvements against. Your research translation coordinator can help you to determine the best way to gather and present the data or evidence. If you can't gather any evidence or data to support your idea, that's okay. You can instead briefly explain why you can't gather that data and then explain what you do know about the extent of the problem in your setting. Next, your EOI will require you to describe what changes or benefits you anticipate by undertaking a research project on your chosen health practice problem or issue. Now, this is really important because you need to be able to convince your manager or leader and us that your project has the potential to lead to beneficial changes in practice or local policy. So we need you to really think about and document who stands to benefit from your project. Patients, carers, the community more broadly, healthcare staff, teams, organisations, etc. You also need to describe how they stand to benefit. For example, through change to local practice or, local policy or clinical guidelines, through changes to practice within teams or across the organisation, through increased awareness or understanding of the scope or scale of a problem. They're just some examples of how you can describe the changes that are expected. Finally, the last section of your EOI is where you detail who is going to be part of your team. Pulling together a team, a research team with a mix of skills will mean that your capacity to actually complete your project will be enhanced. Pulling together a team can be a little bit of work, but what we require from a STaRR Emerging Researcher training perspective is that you have at least 2 additional people working with you. And we do expect that one member of your team is either your manager or a senior clinician or team leader. This will mean that you are more likely to be supported as you go through the training and develop your protocol. It also means that you are more likely to be supported to do the research and to implement the findings into local practice or policy. Remember, this training is really translation focused. So when pulling together your team, think about the skills and networks you have within your proposed team, and if you think that there are any gaps and how you might fill these. Now, I should say at this point, we do cover this through the STaRR program a little bit, but it really is important to think about the composition of your research team early on. So that is the other point. The team you include on your EOI might not represent your final team. This might shift or expand throughout the course of the STaRR training or after, and that is absolutely fine. Just to reiterate, we expect to see at least 2 additional team members listed on your EOI, one of those, at least one being a senior clinician or your manager. All right, so what happens next? After you submit your expression of interest, the STaRR team will review your expression of interest to ensure that your project is suitable for the STaRR training. If we think that there might be another more appropriate avenue for support for you and your project idea, we will certainly let you know. For example, there may already be a lot of research that exists around your topic, and a synthesis of the literature might be a more suitable pathway, and we can direct you towards some resources to support this. Or it might be that your idea would lend itself better to a quality improvement project. So we may suggest you link in with your quality and safety team. If your idea is right for STaRR training, we will pair you with a mentor from our STaRR Mentor Network. We just ask, that said, you are very welcome to identify your own mentor if you have someone in mind already. And if you do, just be sure to include on your EOI that you are bringing your own mentor, and please let us know their name and their contact email address, please. We will also ask you to make contact with your health service librarian to help you conduct an initial literature search. Again, we have some resources that will support you to do this, as will your librarians. If your health service doesn't have a librarian, once again, please speak with your research translation coordinator or the STaRR team, and we will work out how to best connect you with library support. And I'd like to mention now that STaRR doesn't end after the workshops. We also have further training opportunities and resources to support emerging researchers to continue on with their research and to further develop their skills. We also offer STaRR Emerging Researcher grants. These are only open to people who have completed the STaRR Emerging Researcher Training Program. It is a competitive grant round, but it is closed, meaning there are only so many people that are competing for these grants because they have to have completed the STaRR program. We also have opportunities for you to continue to build your research network through our STaRR Mentor Network and other mechanisms to stay engaged with the STaRR team. So I'm going to address some frequently asked questions of the STaRR program, and I'll go through these one by one. People often ask, what if I have already started my project or have a complete data set to work with? This is okay. If you've already started your research project, if you've already started working on a protocol or even completed one, we still encourage you to participate in the STaRR program and just think really quite broadly, or come in with an open mind about how you could have approached your project in a different way. So if you've already started, but you want to develop your research skills further, or learn a more systematic approach to developing a research project, we still encourage you to submit an expression of interest. What if I can't make it to one or more of the workshops? It certainly isn't ideal if you can't make it to all three, but it's not a deal breaker. What we really encourage you to do is look at the dates that are up on our website and on the current expression of interest form, and try your very best to keep those dates free for the workshops. But if you can't make it, we will be able to give you the slide decks, and in the case of the online workshops, access to the recordings of those. We really, really, really encourage you to make it to the first in-person workshop though. But please let us know if your availability precludes that and we can work around it. The third question, what if I don't have a project idea? We really encourage you to get in touch with your manager or your research translation coordinator who can help you to identify a problem and carve out a potential research idea. So don't let that stop you if you don't have an idea, but do note we do need you to come to the project with a pretty well-formed idea. What if I need help with my expression of interest? Once again, please get in touch with your research translation coordinator or your allied health research and translation lead if that applies to you. If you don't have access to either of those, please get in touch with the STaRR team and we can advise you accordingly. What if I can't complete my protocol within the program timeframe? We want to make it very clear this is a self-paced program. If you're able to dedicate solid time in between the workshops, and if you've really prepared yourself in the lead up, theoretically it is possible to complete the protocol by the end of the program, but it's very unlikely. We acknowledge that life, clinical and other health workplace duties will come into play and will influence your progress, hence it being a self-paced program. So whilst we really encourage you to continue on to maintain that momentum, it is no problem if you don't complete the protocol within the 10-week timeframe. Final question, what if I don't have a mentor? I think I've covered this. We will pair you with a mentor, but absolutely, if you've already identified one, they're willing and able to help you through the STaRR program and to develop your project, then we really encourage you to let us know, and we can include them in our communications to our mentor group. Just please make it really clear on your expression of interest form if you have identified your own mentor. Key messages. STaRR is for new and emerging researchers to help develop a translation-focused research idea into a protocol. Manager support and involvement is required so that you can participate in the training and take your idea forward. Your research translation coordinator can help you with your expression of interest, but again, if you don't have access to them at the moment, our STaRR team can help. Our email address is on this slide. Please get in touch with us. To complete your protocol and eventually your project, you need to build a team of people with different skills and networks. STaRR training is founded on experiential and peer learning principles. It's very applied, it's very active, and you need to have a good, solid research idea to work on throughout the workshops. Mentor support and guidance will be provided to you as you develop your protocol. Work is required before and between the workshops at least, and we suggest approximately 2 to 4 hours each week between the first and third workshops. Ensure you submit your completed expression of interest by 5 p.m. on the cutoff date. Please get in touch with your research translation coordinator or the STaRR team if you have any questions. Good luck. We look forward to reading about your translation-focused research idea, and thank you.